they always kept us on the right track. They always will like let us know that, hey, like you can either go on the right path or you can go on a bad path. If you go on a bad path, this is where it's going to lead you.
This is the Knocking Doors Down podcast, featuring celebrities, experts, and everyday people who have overcome adversities, including addiction, mental health, and trauma, to live purposeful lives. And that's what Knocking Doors Down is all about. Jesse Iwuji, thanks for joining me on Knocking Doors Down.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For those who don't know, of course, Jesse, NASCAR driver, Xfinity Series, teamed up with Emmitt Smith to start a team this year. Was Emmitt trying to push for number 22 on the car instead of 34, or did you have to fight him out on that?
No, yeah, he definitely wanted the 22. Unfortunately, Penske, they have that number. They own that number. Even though they're not using it this year, it's still their number. You know, they're at some point, though, they might use it once or twice this year. They might not use it at all, or they might have a driver next year who can run it full time. I'm not sure. We tried to get it, but when that wasn't going to happen, we wanted to find another number that had some significance. So we went with the 34 because, Wendell Scott, that was the number he ran. He's the first African-American driver to race in the NASCAR Cup Series and the first African-American driver to win a race in the Cup Series. So we wanted to run his number so that we could honor him and his legacy and everything he did to pave way for minorities in the sport.
Absolutely. And I just think your story is so fascinating. Your parents, of course, are immigrants from Nigeria. And there's, I would love to talk with them, especially in person. They just sound like the most fascinating people. But did you find growing up, did you have any sort of, because of your parents becoming immigrants? I mean, they're very well educated, very smart people, just phenomenal individuals. But was there any challenges for you in your youth or that your parents maybe shared that helped you propel yourself in life? Because Jesse's a go-getter, and we're going to get into that a little bit later, all the stuff that you're a part of.
Yeah, both of my parents, they both grinded ever since we were little so that they could continue to build our lives. And I think by us seeing them constantly putting in a lot of hours in at work, grinding to do all the right things, even, making sure that we were always doing the right things. Like if we slipped up, we felt it, but they always kept us on the right track. They always will like let us know that, hey, like you can either go on the right path or you can go on a bad path. If you go on a bad path, this is where it's going to lead you, and they would constantly remind us of that. They never let us settle for bad grades. They always, through elementary, middle school, all that stuff. They wanted us to always make A's. Like if you had a B in any class, that was like a fail. Like I was an F, it might as well be an F. Like my parents literally were the type where it's like, if you got a 97 on a test, you'd probably be like, yeah, I got a 97. They'd be like, okay, what happened to the other 3 points? Like where did those just magically disappear? So they always push us to make good grades, do the right things, and just stay on the right path. So by us seeing their efforts, and then their efforts turned into things, right? They put in a lot of hard work, a lot of hours working and constantly trying to level up in their occupations. And while doing that, we saw the level up. We went from living in government subsidized housing when I was real little, like, my first 3-4 years alive, 5 maybe. And then we moved into our own house, 1-story house. And then from there to our first 2-story home and then a bigger house. And so everything got bigger and better as time went on. But we saw that wasn't just happening by them sitting around. That happened by them going out and constantly just moving and grooving and making things happen. So we learned from that. Was there a presence along with your parents talking about, staying focused, but educating you? Because you have a sister and 2 brothers. Am I correct on that? Yeah. I'm the oldest of 4. So it's me. Then I have 2 younger brothers and 1 sister who's the youngest of all of us. Did they bring up the awareness about the dangers of things like drugs, alcohol, and things that in the home as well that hit so many youth that really derails? I mean, that's why I do what I do now, because it did. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wouldn't say they didn't. Never really sat us down and talked to us specifically about that stuff. It's more of encompassing like what was bad. So drugs, alcohol, abuse, getting in trouble through like violent manners or, fighting or, stealing or, whatever it is, all the stuff that can get you locked up. All that stuff, it is all encompasses like bad, like not good at all. And any potential thing that could be a gateway towards going down that path, they nipped in the butt like as quick as possible. When I say anything gateway, even just minute, very, very minute things that a lot of people can get away with now, like they didn't let us, like, it, no sliding on nothing. So they kept us like on track.
Right.
And I think that helped us not go down those paths, right? Because it's a slippery slope, like I think nowadays a lot of parents, they're super, super lenient with their kids. They're like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. You can go sleep over at Billy's and Johnny's or whatever. They don't even know Billy and Johnny. They don't even know their parents. They don't even know that house. Like, what if the house that you're letting your kid go sleep over at is a house that's going to start putting a household that's going to start putting bad thoughts, starting your kid down a bad path because they're seeing this other side. It's just like the whole Adam and Eve, when Eve's, went into the wrong part of the garden and decided to bite that apple from that tree. Like, it changed everything. Like, but if something wasn't tempting her to do that, then all of a sudden that would have never happened. You never know who that bad seed is, who that bad apple is that's going to start derailing your child. It could be happening at school. It could be happening with their friendships, or it could be something on TV, the internet, whatever it is. You got to kind of keep a tight grip. And it's not that you got to micromanage your kids. It's just, you got to just be very aware of what's going on. And sometimes it's just tough love. You just feel like, no, you're not going to go sleep over. We never got to sleep over at anyone's house like throughout our entire childhood. And as much as we were like, why can't we? Every other kid can do it. My parents had a reason. They were like, we see what happens to a lot of these other people who live around us. And that's not going to happen to y'all. So sorry, but you're staying home, and I'm glad, because I'm doing all right.
You're doing pretty awesome there, brother. And you bring up a good point. People that I talk to now that maybe are worried about things with their kids, especially teenagers, in counseling them, and you nailed it, is be up in your kid's business. You're not there.
You have to.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're their parent.
Exactly. It's almost like, I mean, as much as people don't want to hear it, it's like it is in a way kind of like running a business. Like if you're the owner of a company or whatever, you can't just be best buddies and friends with all your employees, because you're never gonna get anything done. They're gonna find a way to walk all over you, and it's just human nature. It's just gonna happen. So there has to be a line. It's the same way in the military as well. You got your commanders, and then you have the people who work for them, right? And you got to be compassionate, and you have to be understanding of them. Learn your people, understand your people, but at the same time too, that whole line can never be crossed. You are never their friend. You are the person to guide them to be the best they can possibly be, whatever the cost is. It's just, that's how you got to be if you want them to succeed. If you want to be their best friend, then you're gonna go through what happens when you try to be someone's best friend that is supposed to be someone you're supposed to be teaching.
I wish the military would have accepted me after high school. But speaking of, you were a standout athlete all the way up through college, track, football. How did the military come about? Where was that conscious decision for you?
For me, I got recruited by the Naval Academy to play football for them. So as I was, going through middle school, high school, I was working on getting better and better and better at football, because I had a big goal and dream to go off to college and play college football. So by ninth grade, I already knew that I wanted to go play college football. So I started doing what was necessary to get there. While all the other kids were going and hanging out and going to movies and doing this and that and chasing girls and whatever else they were doing, drinking, blah, 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 all that stupid stuff, I focused on football, right? Because going and doing all the stuff they were doing wasn't going to get me to college to go play college sports. What was going to get me there, because I was someone who was way behind on football. I never played Pee Wee or anything, so I was like way, way behind. I focused on fine-tuning my skills. I would work out harder. I'd work out extra every single night. As a ninth grader, 10th grader, 11th grader, every night I was disciplined enough to do 100 push-ups every night, do 100 sit-ups every night, 100 calf raises. I'd grab the football, lay in my bed, throw it up like as many times as I could, catch it on this hand, do the same thing on this hand, work on, my forearm strength and muscle memory so I could catch a football better. I would study football film, watch different players that I wanted to be like. I would do all that stuff every single day and just focus on that instead of focusing on all the other stuff that could potentially derail me. And I did that from an early age. I was like 14 when I made those decisions to start working hard like that. And that's when I subconsciously learned that when you put a lot of action and effort and have faith in something, all that energy that you're putting into the universe, that positive, that good, that focus energy, the universe eventually rewards you for it. And it doesn't always happen immediately. I wasn't given an instant gratification. Like the first day I did 100 push-ups, also the next day I got a scholarship. It took years. It took years of putting that grind in. But through those years, I started having more and more ups. And I had some ups, and then I had some downs, and then but I stayed with it, and I kept on grinding. I kept on believing. I remember my senior year, I sent out probably 100 tapes to all these different schools, and only a few of them actually got back to me. But the ones that got back to me was the ones I didn't even actually pick. Another one came out of nowhere, which was the Naval Academy. They're like, "Hey, we like you," and I was like, "Well, I like you too." And then boom, there you go. And I decided to go to the Naval Academy. So that's what got me into the military. Obviously, went to the Naval Academy, got there in 2006. Played football, ran track there all 4 years, graduated in 2010 and became a surface warfare officer in the Navy. And as a surface warfare officer, I was on the ships, operating the ships, going on deployments. I went on 2 different deployments with those ships, went to the Arabian Gulf both times, spent a total of 15 months of my life out at more than 15 months, but 15 months at least Arabian Gulf of my life at sea. And then spent a few more months out at sea around the U.S. But did all that stuff, and in between that's when I was coming home from all those underways. When I go back to San Diego, when I had free time on the weekends, I'd go take my personal cars to tracks, and that's kind of what led me towards getting this passion towards cars, which led me towards this passion towards wanting to become a professional race car driver, which led me towards eventually becoming a professional race car driver in NASCAR.
Yeah, well, you already answered what I was going to ask next. Where did the love of cars start? Because of course, most notably people will know you from the Xfinity Series. Now you did the truck series, but I mean, you've raced everything. Where I met you briefly, you were racing an outlaw go-kart. You do drifting, which I love those videos. Keep posting those on your Instagram. Those are awesome. If I ever get down to San Diego, I'll have to hit you up because I've always wanted to ride along on a drift ride. But where did that passion start?
Yeah. So the passion for cars for me actually started when I was about 5 or 6. I used to watch the show Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff. He was the main character in that. And that's what developed my love for cars. But I never thought I was going to become a pro driver or anything. I never even thought about that at all. Used to watch a little bit of NASCAR when I was a kid. For some reason, if nothing else was on that I liked, like none of the cartoons or Power Rangers or anything like that, I would always, for some reason, turn on NASCAR. I don't know why. It wouldn't be football or anything like that. It'd be NASCAR. And randomly weird. I don't know why. I liked it, but I didn't have this crazy passion or love for it. Something just kept attracting me toward it. It was a really, really weird thing now that I think about it. Anyways, fast forward, got way more into football and focused on football, did the whole football thing. After football was over, I needed the next exciting thing to do. And once I graduated college, being an officer in the Navy, I was finally making some money. So I was like, okay, now that I'm, getting a check every couple of weeks now and I have some money, I can go buy the car that I want. So I bought a Dodge Challenger. I souped it up, made it 1,000 horsepower. I used to take it to the drag race with it against people at the drag strip. And then after doing that for a couple of years or so, I was like, okay, I like going fast, but going fast in a straight line is cool, but I want to go fast around corners. So I was like, okay, this Challenger is really big and heavy. Don't really want to take this to road course tracks. So let me go get a car that's can actually handle. So I bought a Corvette, a C6 Z06 Corvette. And decided to start taking that to road course tracks and did these track days, do one every 2, 3, 4 weeks or so. And after a few of those, this is really, really cool. For some odd reason, I think I'm going to fall in love with this whole track thing. Let me try to take this to the highest level possible. So it was 4 months or so after I did my first track day. And also 4 months after I bought that Corvette, I just made the crazy decision that I wanted to become a pro driver. And I was sitting in my room one night and I just made the decision. I wrote it on a whiteboard and that was it. I said, I'm going to become a pro driver. Didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do, but I made the decision. Then I started putting focus energy towards it every single day. Started thinking about it every day. Started writing down plans, goals, all that stuff. Started doing research online, trying to figure out how to do it, what gets people in, what gets people out, what keeps people in, all that stuff. I had to put it together because I knew that it wasn't going to happen just by doing nothing. I actually reverted back to those 9th grade days. I'm like, When I had a goal and a dream, what did I do in 9th grade when I wasn't good at football at all? What did I do to get to where I wanted to go? Like I started doing my research. I started doing extra things every single day. I started putting focused energy towards something and taking action on a daily basis while fully and insanely and obsessively believing that I could make it happen. So I just applied those same concepts again to this racing thing. And that's what allowed me to start finding my way in. And it has not been easy at all. Not any year of it. I've had some goods and I've had some bads. Even this year's probably been the roughest year I think I've ever had. It like started off like great, like we were making some great traction. We found partners. We did all that stuff, and we did it in a very short period of time. Went to the first race and had a pretty good run the first day. We got caught up in a little bit of a wreck and had to fix it in the pits. Lost a couple laps, but whatever. Like we still got back out there and finished the race. But it still was like a solid start. Like for this team coming together really quick. And then from there, things just went downhill. I mean, went to Auto Club Speedway, had a mechanical issue with the fueling. We lost like 30 laps or so in the pits trying to fix that. Went to Vegas the very next weekend. The setup for the car was all off. We ended up wrecking by the end of the race. Went to Phoenix, didn't even qualify in. Went to Atlanta, actually had a good run in Atlanta. Actually, even though we got almost caught, actually, we kind of got caught up. Actually, we got caught up in 2 wrecks, got past all that stuff and still finished lead lap. So that was going back up again. And then I can't remember whatever the race was after Coda. After that, didn't qualify in. Went to a couple more races after that. Got into those races. Since I'm owner and driver for the team, I get to step back from being a driver sometimes and help other people. So we put another driver in for a couple races. He started helping us with the program a bit, and we had some decent runs too with him. Kyle Weatherman, he's awesome. And then from there, what was the last race we just did? We just went to Talladega and didn't work out again. So. It's been an interesting year. The hardest year, toughest year, like probably emotionally and mentally for me in racing, like ever. Like I've never had to like experience all this. Every year I've raced, I've been able to like get in races and race, and have some good races, have some bad races, but still just get to race. Right. This year has been rough, so we will turn it around.
You will.
It's about staying strong enough, long enough. That's the thing.
What is some advice that you might be able to lend to anyone that's facing adverse situations? A lot of our audience, tunes in for, people that'll lend something mental health wise or whatever it is. You're facing a goal, a challenge that you're going after, and it's a huge struggle. I know for me, that first month or two of sobriety was really tough, but like you, I had to have a plan, and I'm starting to do something now that I think you do. Vision boards, really getting it up there, putting it out there, seeing it daily, that allows me to focus more on my goals and where I want to head. And you said something that I too believe in. If you look at science, we're all energy. So if you're putting certain energy into yourself and then out in the world and how things come back to you, and it's not always, that instant snap either.
Yeah, no, it's very tough. I would say, for people going through whatever they're going through, trying to accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish. One, you got to have a vision. You got to have a clear vision, seeing yourself become whatever you're supposed to become or get to wherever you're supposed to get to. After you have that vision, you got to you have to insanely and obsessively believe that you can make it happen. And you can't rely on anybody else to believe in you for it. You got to believe it for yourself, because you were the only person who can see it for yourself. No one else was given that vision except you. After you have that vision, you believe in it. Now you have to put action towards it every single day. As you're putting action towards it on a daily basis, you're going through a tunnel, and it can be a very dark tunnel. But you're moving forward every single day. Sometimes you'll trip, sometimes you'll fall, sometimes you'll get stabbed, sometimes you'll get kicked, punched, thrown on the ground, bit. Some people might try to pull you backwards, back to the beginning, whatever it is. You're grinding on a daily basis, but as you're doing all this stuff, you have to have faith, right? Because when you're going through that dark tunnel and you can't see the end anymore, a lot of people want to quit because they can't see it. But why would you quit when you saw it originally? Like you already saw what it's supposed to look like. It's already been put in your hand. So just because you can't see it anymore doesn't mean it's not there. It's still there. You already saw it, right? It's not disappearing. It's always going to be there. As long as you saw it, it's always going to be there. You just have to continue to have faith that whatever you want to accomplish is still there, even when it is completely pitch black and you can't see it anymore. That's where the faith comes in. As you're doing that, you're pushing forward. You will get to the end as long as you stay strong enough, long enough.
Yeah. One of the sayings I hang on to, Jesse, is I didn't come this far to only come this far.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. If you already gone through the pain, why turn back? You already gone through the pain. The pain's done. When you go backwards, the pain, life doesn't give you all the good feeling again and be like, okay, all that pain you felt, no, that's gonna, no. Like life's like, no, I still made you go through pain. So if you're gonna go backwards, every little bit you have to go back, you're gonna feel that pain again. It's gonna hurt.
Absolutely. Well, Jesse, I wish we had some more time, man. I really appreciate this out of your busy schedule. If people want to know more on you, the team, I mean, we didn't even get into the philanthropic stuff that you're doing. You do so much for different charities, especially veterans, which thank you for that. And but how can they find out more about Jesse?
Yeah, if anyone wants to follow, they can just head on to I have two websites. I have jesseiwuji.com and jesseiwujimotorsports.com. If they don't know how to spell my name, it's Jesse. Last name is Iwuji. If you can't remember how to spell it, go on Google, type in Navy NASCAR driver. I should be the only one that pops up. And you can find my name on there. And you can follow me on all the social media channels from LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. I'm on all of them, mainly on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But follow me on there. If anyone has any questions, shoot me a message on there. I get to all my messages when I can, not on every single day, but as much as I can. So if anyone has any questions or anything, any inquiries, whatever it is, reach out and just keep supporting the journey. We're going to keep grinding. We'll keep pushing forward no matter what happens. Yes, sir. Continued success. And I'll be watching. I'll continue to watch some Xfinity Series, and I'm looking forward to when you take that checkered flag in first place, because it's going to happen. One of these days, it'll be the sweetest thing ever. Hey, well, just know there's a guy in Central California that'll be jumping off the couch for you. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.